I hope you had a fantastic week. And can you believe this is already the third week of January into 2026? Like, yeah, yeah. So, Dr. Lucita, can you do the needful? Do you have a poem today? You are muted.
No, I'm not audible, am
You're
I?
now unmuted. Yeah, yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Okay. Good morning.
Good
I hope
morning.
you are doing well. It is Monday number 2 of, I think we're going to have around 47 Mondays or 48, unless a public holiday pops up. So we are Power Monday. We are the powerhouse. We demystify the fact that Mondays are boring days, and I assure you they can never be boring days because they are good days. And this is where we set the fire burning from. So from Zenith to Nadir, we discuss diverse topics all across personal development. And we also, not only do we meet virtually, we meet physically every quarter, and the itinerary is clearly highlighted in our group. If you're not in the group, please make a point of joining. We meet every single Monday as from 7:15 to 8:15, and you couldn't afford to miss. Today, I am doing a poem on greatness. Greatness. Greatness is born in a humble start. It is a quiet dream inside your heart. It grows in hope. It grows in light with light, a steady, small step. It doesn't have to be sudden. It is greatness. Greatness lives where courage stays, in honest work and patience days. It shows its face when we stand tall and rise each time we fall. It's greatness. Greatness speaks in actions that are so true, in simple things that we choose to do. A helping hand, a caring word, a gentle voice that can be heard. That is greatness. Greatness shines in the darkest of the night. When the faith is weak but will is very tight, it finds its path, it finds its way, it stands our fear to the strength each day. It is greatness. Greatness. Greatness walks with calmness and grace. It does not rush, it does not pace. Greatness waits, it learns, it dares to try. With humility, it step and a lifted eye. Greatness lives within us. Greatness stands when storms tempt to appear. It does not bow to doubt or fear. It holds its ground, it stays its course with steady mind and inner force. It is greatness. Greatness is not loud. It's not proudness. It does not seek the cheering crowd. It lives within the soul deeper that cares. It lifts the weight of others' cares. Greatness lasts beyond our names. It leaves a legacy when we have gone. It leaves a mark, a hopeful sign. Greatness. Attain greatness. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lucita. Greatness is not loud. I love that because, yeah, we all know people who are supposedly great, but they're so braggadocious and they are so, so loud. So greatness is not loud. I believe that greatness is an inside thing. You really do not have to show it. It just shows up when you show up, and that is greatness. Thank you so much, Dr. Lucita. And now I call upon Pierre Rose, who is going to introduce the guest speaker of the day. Rose, tafadhali.
Okay, thank you so much for this day, wonderful morning. I thank God. My name is Pieros Cherotich, formerly a high school teacher. Today I own my own business, and it is my singular honor to welcome our guest speaker for today, and that is Mr. Rogers Odima. Rogers Odima is a distinguished specialist in quality management and leadership studies, serving as the Managing Director of Continuous Improvement Management Services, that is SIMS, an MBA graduate from the University of Leeds. He is a certified IFC/World Bank trainer and an associate lead auditor with SGS, with extensive experience training senior executives across Africa. Rogers specializes in ISO 9000 strategic management and organizational development, helping leading organizations optimize their performance. Rogers is also currently serving as the economic advisor to His Excellency the Governor of Kiambu, Dr. Paul Kimani Wamatangi. So at this point, I want to welcome Rogers on stage. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for that introduction, Rose. I appreciate. Yeah, today we are looking at the topic abundance mindset, and of course, the fine-tuning your thoughts to create more. So that's what we are looking at today. Now, I start with a Bible verse because we are talking about abundance, and we are saying, now to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think. So abundance, you can see, has also something to do with asking, has also something to do with thinking, according to the power that works in us. Then I'm saying there are three levels of abundance. There's the spiritual level, there's the thinking and emotional level, and there's the physical and material level. I know I could give very many examples here. There was a time, I mean, not even, let me even just start with the most basic one. There are these people who do betting and gambling. When they get a lot of money, that is at the physical level, because they don't have the emotional and, can I call it intellectual capacity, which is the second level, to manage that finance, it always disappears. It always disappears. So you need to have what I call the spiritual level capacity, then the thinking or emotional or intellectual capacity. Then you have the physical or material capacity for you to really enjoy what I call abundance. The three are very important. The three are very important, as we shall see as we continue. Now, there is an economic statement on scarcity. I studied economics in the university, and my very first book in the first year was called Introduction to Positive Economics by Richard Lipsey. And the very first thing that most economic textbooks state is that resources are scarce compared to wants. I won't say this is a big lie, and we shall continue as we discuss this. Feel free, by the way, to engage me. OPP, you will be summarizing for me what people are doing in the chat. Sometimes I'm not very good at multitasking.
No worries,
Okay.
no worries. Thank you, thank you. Actually, I love the way you started. I always wrestled with this statement because they introduced me to economics in secondary school, then I dropped it, and then now in the university there were common causes about the same. Go on.
Thank you, OPP. Now, because of that scarcity that economics teachers, imagine a study by Brigham shows that the financial situations of Kenyans at retirement. By then, maybe for those of you who are new here, the last time OPP invited me here, I was talking about retirement. And by then, we also met in those RBA retirement circles, or rather training circles. Now, it is said that by the time people will be 65 years old in Kenya, 49% will be depending on friends. Yani they are not financially independent. Now, 29% will be dead. 12% will be broke. 5% will still be working. 4% will be financially independent. Only 1% will be rich. The question we should be asking ourselves is, how come only 1% or even say 5% will be living in abundance at the age of 65 in Kenya? I think that's a thought that we should put in our whatever. If you have any thoughts, of course, type in the chats. Why only 5% of Kenyans should experience abundance at the age of 65? Okay. By this, of course, abundance, I mean what financial. Of course, there are other types of abundance very soon we are going to see. Now, an RBA survey also in March 29 displays the top priority items of Kenyan any given month. The first one is rent or mortgage, whichever. So that's what most Kenyans focus on. Then the second one is food. The third one is house bills, the tokens, the water, the gas. The fourth one is transport. Now, I always joke with my with my friends who are pastors that their priority is actually number 5. After people have taken care of their rent, food, house bills, transport, of course, transport to work, or of course, before we started, some of us here were saying they were dropping their children to school, even transport to school. 6 is clothing. But this only applies to the good ladies here. Maybe somebody like me and OPP, if we buy one shirt the whole year, we are happy. Then OPP, I'm not saying that's what you do. 7 is entertainment and 8. But interesting enough, in Kenya, savings is not a priority because of these factors. Now, income distribution in Kenya, they say only 2%, rather 2% have zero income, unemployed or no dignified work. 10% earn between 25,000 and 40,000. 2.89%, they earn 55,000 and 75,000. And you can see only 1%, about only 2.8%, they earn over 100,000. So you can see Kenya is a land where the income distribution is very skewed. Let's go to, actually this is, and then you see also that 10% of Kenyans own 40% of wealth. That is according to wealth distribution statistics in Kenya. Now the poorest 10% in Kenya control only 1% of wealth and financial assets. When we talk about wealth, we mean land and other assets. That is the poorest of Kenyans, the poorest 10%. Now, only 2.8% of all deposits in Kenya, of all the deposits in Kenya, only 2.8% of people in Kenya have 100,000 shillings in their accounts monthly. Yeah, if I was in a physical training, I normally joke with people and say, how many of you have actually 100,000 shillings in the account monthly consistently? So I'm just trying to paint this picture, and this is data from Central Bank of Kenya. Now, levels of wealth of Kenyans. Now this one you'll type after I go through this. You will type in the chat, and you tell me. It is said the first level is of Kenyans, they have more debt than income. We call them suffering or sufferers. I don't know that they're also hustlers or they're just sufferers. So the suffering is more debt than income. Survival, the expenses, you keep trying to fight expenses every month. Then, of course, at least when you go to stability, there is more income than expenses. So you start being, And of course, when you say here expenses, we don't mean any type of expenses. Of course, expenses within your reach. Obviously, if that issue of expenses was left, all of us would want to be driving 3,000 cc vehicles. So I'm just saying expenses in the context of your lifestyle. Success is where now your investment, you can actually afford investments. You don't now keep fighting with, with every month you are wondering where will this expense come from. Now you have enough income to both save and invest. Then the last one, I call it significance. This is where now in a way, I would say you are not bothering about money problems. You are supporting the causes that you value. It could be in health, it could be in education, it could be, in your village, maybe there is a program for water, or it could even be, maybe one of your relatives died of a certain disease and you want to say, why don't I invest to support those causes? Of course, at the level of significance, that is definitely an abundance mindset. At the level of significance, definitely an abundance mindset. So I want you to think most Kenyans are. Do you think they are in suffering, in survival, in stability, in success, or in significance? Please feel free to type
Yeah.
in the chat.
Don't forget that we have others who are not just Kenyans, because this platform is more global.
I'm happy. This is
Yeah.
a global. And that's
Yes.
what I'm praying for you, OPP, that this platform will be more than TED Talks one day. So
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
happy.
Thank you.
I'm happy you have started that journey.
Yeah.
So
So
wherever
many
you are, even
people.
of course,
So people
even in your
typing survival, suffering and survival, suffering and survival, other survival. There was a report, that is Dr. Ed, there was a report, majority still in Fuliza, that is borrowing from mobile app.
and that is debt, yeah. So that is suffering.
Mm.
Okay,
So
thanks for
many
those
people are saying the
responses.
same. Mm.
Yeah, and OPP, of course, as we continue, we'll keep reading them. Okay. Now, when you're at significant stage, like I said, you support causes that you value. Now, there's this lady called Ruth Gottesman. You can Google her later. Imagine she donated 1 billion for free tuition at a university. She says for the next 10 years, I'm supporting school fees for university students. And she donated it. So you see, she's already living in abundance, significance. She's supporting causes that she values. Now, we also have a lawyer here whom we all know for lack of time, or rather some of us know, well, Kenyans, now that I've been told this is is an international forum. This lawyer decided to construct houses for every family member. Some of us have seen, I think, this documentary in the video. Now, if you ask him what he did, he'd say, yeah, I wanted just to share with my family. The construction here was just the need to restore dignity in the family and to protect the unity we share. We call that significance. That is significance. So that is our lawyer, Jack Ogola. So I'm saying if you reach at the level of significance, you start focusing on causes that you value. Causes that you value. Now, your resources, can I call it money, is now not just for food, clothing, shelter, and entertainment alone, but it also now you start supporting causes that you value. Now, I also remember I said when I started that the economics definition of scarcity is a lie. Because in life, love is in abundance, but also hatred is in abundance. Or can any of you tell me, do you think hatred is in scarcity? Yes. Yeah. Or do you think love is in scarcity? Maybe a few of you could type and find out. Do you think love is scarce in the world, or is hatred scarce in the world? So that's why I was saying that economics definition of scarcity, for me, I feel it's a lie. Then we also have good abundance and bad abundance. If you hear, all companies that declare their profits, the banks, Safaricom, they declare their profits in abundance. But there's also the bad abundance. If you Google, or typed to find out how much corruption costs not just Kenya, but many a nation. It is also in abundance. It is not in little measure. Corruption is also in abundance. So I'm just saying, instead of scarcity, we should be talking about good abundance and bad abundance. There's also, of course, the issue of good abundance, good medicine. We have the production capacity to actually produce, when I say factories, pharmaceutical factories, to produce good medicine, enough for everybody. But also, on the other hand, we have that bad abundance of illegal drugs. And I'm sure if you Google, you'll also find that the value of illegal drugs in this world maybe is even billions of dollars. So again, the issue is not that there is scarcity. The issue is there is good abundance and bad abundance. Now, according to Matthew 13, there is what we call the parable of the sower. And it talks about the same seed having different effects. Actually, what you can say cause effect. The same seed in other types of environment produced scarcity, but the same seed in other types of environment produced abundance. So what am I saying? If you have a proposed solution in the right environment, you'll always get abundance. If you have a proposed solution in the right environment, you'll always get abundance. But if you have a proposed solution in the wrong environment, you'll always get mistake. Now, if you have the wrong proposal, for example, all of us know, if you boil maize and want to plant, it will not grow. So if you have the wrong proposal in the right environment, that is confusion. But the worst is if you have the wrong proposal in the wrong environment, it is disaster. Now, I want you again also to type in the chat. In your nation, where do you think most of us, where are we as a nation? Are we in the level of abundance? Are we in the level of mistake? Are we in the level of confusion, or rather in the scenario of confusion? Or are we in the scenario of disaster? We have wrong proposals in the wrong environment, and that is disaster. Please just type in the chat and OPP will let me know where are we? Yeah, because what I'm basically saying here, abundance is not accidental. We can create it. And the way that parable of the sower shows, if you have the right seed in the right soil, you will actually get abundance. So even you and me, even as a company, as an organization, as a family, if we have proposed solutions in the right environment, we'll get abundance. So I don't know, OPP, if a few
Yes,
people have
people are saying mistake. That is Shiro Mugithi. Dr. Ida says Kenya is a disaster. Anne said disaster. Carol said mistake. So many people are on mistake and abundance. But then Jennifer says confusion and mistake. I don't know whether this is Jennifer from Kenya or South Africa. Then there is yes, other people here say disaster. Lillian Ogoti said mistake, mostly mistake.
Okay.
Disaster.
Okay.
There is mistake and disaster, mistake, disaster.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So now, the purpose of actually covering this session is, actually there is somebody who says, Mike Murdoch has written a book that says, in life, you are either a problem solver or a problem creator. Again, if I was doing a physical training, I would have asked you, where are you in those whatever? Are you the one here doing the right proposed solution in the right environment? Or is it that confusion, wrong proposal in the right environment? That is confusion. So what I'm basically saying, abundance, you remember the topic was fine-tuning your thoughts to create more. So if you want to create more, please come up with the right seed in the right environment. Then you'll be able to create more. Now, these are what I call, again, back to the economics definition of that resources are scarce, subject to, as compared to wants. I had said it's a very big lie. Why? Because if you look at I've decided to list all the resources using the word, starting with the word M. And I want to ask you, or rather, please, you can go ahead and type even as we talk. Mercy. Mercy, and this I really, without an apology, is what I call much grace and love from God. Type, do you think it is scarce in the world or it is abundant? Mercy. The fact that you are even living today, the gift of life, you have woken up. I was happy for the mothers here in the morning who are saying they have dropped their beautiful children to school. That is the gift of life. Do you think mercy is scarce in the world or is abundant? Please type. Then the second, and by the way, another thing, as we go through this 12M, I want you to also put it in mind. Is it that those Japanese, the Chinese, and the Wazungus, do they have more mercy than Africans? Do we need International Mother and Father, IMF, to have more mercy? Then we go to what I call mental creativity. That's what I call innovation. Innovation. Again, is innovation in short supply? Is it in scarcity or is it in abundance? And again, why is it? Will we say that the Chinese, the Japanese, the Germans, the French, they are more creative than us Africans? Is it true? Type again in the chat. So do we need IMF to make us more innovative? Innovative in terms of water solutions in our villages, in terms of our educational system, even our political system, every system. So, OPP, what are people saying in the chat?
Yeah, so majority of people agree that mercy is abundant. Mercy is abundant, new mercy every morning, abundant, abundant, abundant. And then
Okay,
somebody
what about mental
said,
creativity, innovation?
yes, they've also said, I think this is what Dr. Cynthia was responding to. Not true, meaning we do not need the IMF and the likes. It's not true that the other people are more innovative than us or something
That's
like
good.
that. Innovation is abundant. Well, Dr. Eda says bad weather also generates creativity. I believe what she means to say is sometimes bad disadvantaged situations cause people to start thinking of how to come out of it, how to come up
That
with
is
a
true.
solution. And then innovation is scarce. That is what somebody says also.
Maybe the person saying innovation is scarce, please type and tell us why you feel innovation is scarce. And OPP somebody has just typed earlier, which says necessity is the mother of invention. In other words, where there are problems, we should be more innovative. So why should the Chinese and the Japanese be more innovative than us with our own problems?
Good. So Dr. Kezia Odemba said, mercy from God is abundant, from men is scarce. Creativity is the same for all. The issue is opportunity to express it. By Paul, I think this is Dr. Flo Ambayo, says innovation is abundant, mental creativity is scarce. That is from Elsa. We just stifle it. That is Carol Kodo. Mental creativity is abundant, but we are lazy. That is from Rotrian Mugo, Anthony. Innovation depends on early exposure. That's from Makoha. So people have very varied opinion about innovation here.
Thank you. Thank you. I think you will maybe toward the end, if there's still time, we can summarize. Yes. Now, materials, I call them the land blessings. Does Africa have enough land? Does Africa have enough water? By the way, I was last week, I was training some people from Uganda, and they said if they come up with some dams in Uganda, they can actually supply almost the whole of Africa water. You remember, Uganda has a lot of lakes. Materials. So Why do we suffer in Africa? And we have a lot of materials in abundance. Even minerals we have in abundance. Sun, solar, we have in abundance. Wind, nowadays we have wind, we have in abundance. So what is our problem? Why do we still need donor aid? You know, we call them nowadays, of course, we baptize them wrongly, development partners, you know. And we have our own material and we have very bright people. OPP, I normally know you mobilize very bright people in this power mandate. Why can't we add value to our own materials? What stops us? What stops us? Because these are our materials, starting from our own village. And here I want to pause and give an example. Maybe those of you who don't know, but some of you I know may know. In Kenya here, there is a place called Yatta, and there is a bishop called Bishop Titus Masika. He has turned dry land into very fertile land. The shoshos there, shoshos as grandmothers, have become millionaires in the village, abundance. So one of your New Year resolutions should be to go and visit CIM Center in Yatta, or if you just type Bishop Titus Masika. But by the way, he's the father of Mercy Masika. I know some of us know the musician Mercy Masika. Now, the father is very innovative. And by the way, he has now left Yatta. He's now doing that in West Pokot, or rather, not left, but expanded it. So, the issue about materials, actually, if you combine mental creativity and materials, the sky is not the limit for Africa. The sky is not the limit. Machinery. Again, would you say we are short of machinery? Why? Why are we short of machinery? By the way, before these people came, we had our boats, we had our what, we had everything. Maybe we just need to improve on them. Measurements. Measurement is a resource. Measurement is a very big resource, because if you don't get measurements right, you actually can end up losing. So it is a resource. And again, I want to ask, is it that the Japanese, the Chinese, and the Germans, the English, and the French, they have better measurements than us in Africa? Again, you can keep on typing as we go along. Let's go to minutes. Minutes is time, resource. Is it that the Chinese have 30 hours per day and us in Africa, we have only 7 hours a day? Do we have time in abundance or we don't? We have time in abundance or we don't? Again, you can type. Methods. This is where when I was being introduced, I was introduced as a quality management specialist, ISO 9000. This is what we do for organizations. And the same methods, you know, ISO has standardized the method, whether it is in quality, project management, environment, ICT. The same methods that ISO prescribes are the same in China, the same in UK, the same wherever. So, do we have methods in scarcity or methods in abundance? Systems. Then the other thing is marketing. Now, marketing, for those of you who may be writing down, call it demand potential per capita. Demand potential per capita. What do I mean? If you look at Africa here, do we have enough schools? Do we have enough hospitals? Do we have enough even food? What am I saying? There's still enough, or rather there's a lot of scope. Demand potential per capita, for example, even when it comes to labor, we normally say the population divided by the number of nurses, the population divided by the number of teachers. We have a lot, and the scope is there. So then what is the challenge? How come? Members network, unity. Is unity in abundance or unity is in short supply? And thank you, ladies. Ladies in Africa and in Kenya, for that matter, have shown that chamas work. And through chamas, ladies have shown you can actually create abundance, fine-tuning your thoughts to create more. So members network, and I'll be giving an example of in Israel, there is what we call the kibbutz communities beyond a cooperative. In the kibbutz, there is free school fees, free housing, free whatever, because of members network, unity. Management. Are Chinese better managers than us? Is management in short supply? Manpower, just numbers. And of course, when it comes to numbers, we are more, actually because of our birth rate. So again, you could type, is manpower in abundance or manpower is in scarcity? Finally, might, and this is basically authority, leadership, authority, and power. Is it in scarcity? Are some of these guys in these other countries better leaders than us? Can't Africa produce leaders, whether in political leadership, economic leadership, social leadership? Is might in short supply? So I don't know. Maybe let me give OPP people 1 or 2 minutes to respond to this. And because I'm actually about to wind up.
Okay. So manpower is abundant. That's what people say. Carol Code said. Unity is in short supply. I don't know whether you also asked about unity.
Yes, members
It's
network is
poor
unity. Yeah.
leadership and corruption in African countries. Yes, manpower is in abundant. We are now exporting manpower through NEA and recruitment agencies. That is from Steve Lombo. Political leadership is our biggest problem. That's from Makoha. So those are some of the things that people have said.
Okay. Thank you. You can keep on typing as we go along. Now, when it comes to unity, there are 4 scenarios of unity. And that's why I'm wondering when we say that unity is in scarcity. You see, like now, say this morning, is a partnership between me and I win, or rather, OPP and I win. That is cooperation. But if I win and OPP loses, that is domination. If I lose and OPP wins, that means he has intimidated me, intimidation. But now, if we have nothing to do with each other, lose, we call that isolation. So again, the question I will ask, why should we have cooperation in scarcity? Why? Why can't cooperation be in abundance? And thank you, by the way, last year, I attended one of the sessions, which I really liked, was the not New Year, but the New You. I really liked that. And when I posted that in another team, our poet, she's called Dr. Who, Lucy?
Lucita.
Lucita. Yeah,
Yes.
somebody was very happy. She was very happy about your point. So keep on bringing those points in abundance, Dr. Lucita. You are doing a good work. So it's even that combination, by the way, OPP every morning, I like your combination with the Lucita, and the master of ceremony is called who? The lady who went.
It's a whole lot of team, but
It's a whole lot of team. You
Yes.
see, there's cooperation,
Yes.
and there's cooperation in abundance. So that's basically what I'm saying. Okay. As we go to close, I want to say that abundance, like I started by saying, there are 3 levels of abundance capacity: spiritual, emotional or thinking level, and the physical level. Let me now end up with the spiritual level. When you are faithless or when you have doubt, there'll always be scarcity in your life. Also, when you have little faith, there was a time Jesus rebuked people and said, "You men of little faith." When you are also wavering, faith between little and great, you'll also experience scarcity. But now when you come from level 4 and level 5, great faith, daring God based on his promises, And God's promises are abundant, just the same way we started saying earlier when we looked at that first resource of mercy. In fact, Psalms 2:8 says, ask of me the nations. So this year, I want us to expand to other nations, OPP. So create a Power Monday for Uganda, a Power Monday for South Africa. Of course, you'll have a general one like this, but also have, so great faith, daring God based on his promises. Matthew 9:29 says, according to your faith, be it unto you. And then, of course, when challenges come, is number 5, have resilient and endurance faith. And that will maintain your abundance mindset. So when a small challenge comes, please don't give up. When you give up, that will be scarcity mindset. It will be a health problem, a financial problem, whatever problem it is. Please, let's continue having a resilient and endurance faith. That will keep us having an abundant mindset. So thank you very much. I leave there. So OPP, I can stop sharing, isn't it?
Yes, yes. Thank you for those intriguing questions. Let's put our questions in the chat so that they can be responded to. We have a few minutes left. Maybe a first question that would pop in mind is from where we started. How do you know you are in the right environment? The question of environment. You know that you have the right seed. You did not boil your maize before you plant them. Now, how about environment? I think this is where some people feel like, oh, maybe I need to move to a different country. Maybe a change of environment. Or do I need to move from urban to rural or rural to urban or whatever? How do you handle that?
Personally, okay. Of course, the answer is two types of answers. One, you remember Isaac one time wanted to move from his environment. He was told, no, don't move. If you go to a place like Israel, we know it is a desert, but they have been able to harness the water technology. So instead of them moving, but there's even a joke, once in a while they import soil from Kenya. So instead of moving the environment, why don't we improve that environment so that when the right seed goes to the right environment, then we have abundance? Because if you keep running, for example, you run, and you know what has happened to our brothers and sisters now who went to America. Trump says that some of them should come back. So how will you keep running? But I'm not saying it is bad. I think, again, depending on one or two decisions you may want to make, sometimes there's nothing wrong to move an environment that will reward you well. Okay. Any other question on the chat or something?
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm trying to check if there are other questions. There are comments here from different
Even
people
comments are fine.
about how powerful and impactful, insightful the session. So Shiro Mugidi says very insightful and challenging at the same time. Mindset should actually be added to the M's that you started
Okay.
with. And then we
That's
have
fine. That's fine.
Yeah, then we have Susan Kamau asking, what about lack of financial startup resource despite having great ideas or creative? Besides, you are creative, but you feel like maybe there is something that is blocking you, resources or finance or something.
Then I'll tell you, said she's called who?
Susan.
Okay. Susan, I know this is not a session, of course, on finance, but there are 30 sources of capital. I think which are in abundance. Actually, it's always an excuse whenever we say there is no capital to start up or whatever. So maybe OPP will give you my number, then I'll send you that slide of 30, because I train, by the way, I've been training for KCB, their Biashara Club. I've trained all over the country. And of course, like I said, I've been training for RBA, this topic also. So there are 30 sources of capital. So they're in abundance. They are not in short.
Thank you very much. Now the next question, as I say the questions, also just to mention that The Power Monday program has been there for 5 years, and it's hosted by Live Your Dream Enterprises Limited. And we work with entrepreneurs and working together in growth and all those other questions that may be related to capacity development, business development services. And of course, it's sponsored by ICT Gurus that ensures that everything is set up, and Zoom platform and things like that. And we welcome other people, other entities who may want to sponsor. So the next question is from Sarah Karingi, a Rotarian and a member of BNI. Can you share with us from own experience, since you went to consult for Kiambu County, what the real problems are?
You know, Sarah is my sister. Na Sarah nataka kuwa mchokozi. Sarah, why don't we meet for a cup of tea? Sarah, I know you're my good sister. But in brief, even in a place like Kiambu, I'm so happy that people are trying to come up with solutions to the problem facing progressive governor trying to solve the problems that confront the people of Kiambu. So let me leave it there in brief.
Yeah, and just to mention, I saw recently people were praising Kiambu for great development, so we can see the fruits of your labor. Yes, Susan, Susan Kamau, who talked about capital, said kindly share. Another person has also asked you share. So when you share, I will be able to share with them. Makoa said this scarcity mindset seems integrated in most of us from early life, from home, school. How do we change it? Yes, it's been our programming, our blueprint in what we say in other quarters. It's a blueprint from childhood. How do we change it? And alongside of that, well, no, the other person is also talking about resources.
Okay, let me answer Makoha. I agree with you entirely about the programmed scarcity mindset. I learned when there was no 844. Even that time, whenever you did exams like people have done, there will always be a scarcity of schools, especially of good schools. Then came 844. Then we were, okay, sorry for using the word, we were cheated that CBE, there will be no problem of schools. But what has happened with the grade 9? You know, the same problem that was there during my time, during 844, has now come to CBE. So you can see it is a society programs us. And in fact, there is this management writer. For those of you who want to read, it's called, one of my favorite writer is called Peter Senge, or Seng. He was an MIT professor. That we have been brought up in a system, an education system that always thinks about scarcity. So I think that is something that is because you remember there was a time we had said 100% transition. What has happened? So the issue is not really education system. And that same scarcity also, by the way, goes to employment. I'm one person who believes there is no unemployment in Kenya, but that's a discussion for another day. OPP, bring me one day to discuss that.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I think from the way we were conditioned, but like what he is asking, we have to start, and that is, it starts with this session, to start challenging the belief. One of the ways to change a belief is you start by challenging that belief and trying to find out, is it true? For example, I can give a simplistic example of what I did when I started confronting my fears. I started asking myself, what is fear? I looked back and started thinking about a long time ago, I would fear walking in the dark, walking at night. And then I asked myself, what has changed between night and day, except that there is no sun, but it's the same. But you see, when I was young, walking, I would feel even some footsteps following me, maybe some other bush that you always see. Now you see like somebody is squatting. But the moment I challenged that and started imagining the right things, they started appearing, the truth started appearing. So it's always said that abundance is the truth. The other things are largely lies. So we need to start changing those, challenging those beliefs one at a time. You've been brought up to think like there is no employment. I believed that there is abundance of employment, and I believed that I was not going to do tamaking that people did, and I didn't tamak. The very same day I graduated, the very same day I was hired. Yeah, and I believed that I'm not going to be in employment forever. I wanted to give myself 5 years. I left the active employment within 4.5 years. So I've learned that we can challenge these beliefs and look at the reality, dig deeper, and see that ideally all those things are not true. You see, so I agree with you. It's just about challenging our beliefs, whatever we are programmed to believe. And this is a big topic, by the way. This abundance thing is something I love talking about. And even the idea of schools that you've mentioned, I've had a situation where I see people craving about schools, but then personally, I believed that I will get school for my children. I will not go starting to ask for a school, a school, a school. Where will they be received? And they just got. So our beliefs will always open ways for us. And thanks for this challenging uh, uh, moment, the challenging opportunity. Yes, Dr. Eda had asked, repeat the names of the people you mentioned have improved the world. There were two names. There was that lady who gave 1 billion for the university. It's called somebody Scott.
Ruth Gottesman. Ruth got R-U. Ruth is, of course, you know the spelling of Ruth. Gottesman is Gottes man. Gottesman. If you Google that, you'll see she donated over 1 billion US dollars. And for Kenyans, it's Jack Ogola,
Yeah.
who actually, if you Google, he built actually very beautiful houses for all his brothers and parents.
Yeah, and by the way, if you Google just giving to the world, you are likely to meet very many names. I personally know very many names, even in the Rotary Circle where I belong. Well, somebody asked a very good question, which you may answer, and then, if possible, you will stay a little while so that we close the official part for people who may want to interact further. Where is the place for divine guidance and right action in abundance? Is our
Is
education to
faith. You
blame?
remember,
Yes.
that's where I went to the level of faith. I said, if you are faithless, there'll be no divine guidance. If you have little faith, there'll be no. But if you start having faith, connecting to God's promises, knowing that when it comes to health, there are abundant promises on health. When it comes to resource provision, when it comes to love, when it comes to many other areas, they are abundant. So divine guidance is actually goes with the level of faith in your life.
Beautiful. That is very accurate. According to your faith, let it be done to you. I've always believed that. So, divine guidance, first of all, we've got to believe that it's there and we will be divinely guided. Some other times we use what we call affirmations, and I think we can discuss that further. So, we may not have somebody to blame. We have an opportunity to also instill the same in the people who are under our care, where we are caregivers, parents, and something like that. So whatever the world teaches, we may get an opportunity to teach differently or to challenge that. I'd like to call on Noel about the who is to give a vote of thanks and move to the next level. And
That
yeah,
was a fantastic, fantastic, fantastic presentation, and I love the fact that you gave us the viewpoints both professionally and then scripturally and then live, like how you can apply it to your life. That was a very, 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 very awesome presentation. Thank you so much, Mr. Rogers Odima. I call upon the lady who is supposed to give the vote of thanks, and her name is Cynthia Wanyonyi.
okay.
Cynthia.
Cynthia here. Okay, so Cynthia Nyonyi.
As Cynthia is trying to unmute her, we are trying to find her because there's so many people today. There's a way that if you view God, that is how He is going to be with you. There's someone who once told me, if you see Him as a Githeri God, He will so be a Githeri God and provide Githeri for you. Githeri is not bad. I love Githeri, by the way. I love Githeri. But if you see Him as a Githeri God, He is going to be that Githeri God and provide Githeri for you. Cynthia, you are the one I am waiting as.
I can't see Cynthia.
You can't see
Uh,
Cynthia.
yeah, so maybe somebody else.
Okay, so I am going to call upon our scribe, Mr. Odhiambo Olale, who's going to give a vote of thanks.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I have a sore throat, so my voice is a bit rough, but all the same, we can hear. Yeah, thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. I like the way you opened our minds to think outside the box, that everything is possible. It is us who make it impossible by being myopic in terms of how we think and even setting our goals. Please, I think we'll need to call you back again once again, because what you told us is good, but you said there's still so much more in store. So we look forward to another session. Thank you very much and be blessed.
Thank you so much, Mr. Scribe,
Thank you,
and we
Odhiambo.
wish you a quick recovery. We wish you a quick recovery. Pole sana. Pole, drink ginger and everything else. Lemon, you'll be fine. You're fine, actually. You're fine.
Concussions.
Thank you. Drink those concoctions. I know you are good at them, and OPP can also help you with that. So I call upon Antonia to give us any highlights from admin. And also, Antonia, you didn't tell us Happy New Year last week. Ulikuwa umejificha katikati ya watu. Leo tumekupata. Where are you?
It's also good to note that even in healing, I was discussing this with somebody yesterday. Even in healing, there is that element of focusing and believing in that healing, that element of faith. Yes, Antonia, good to see you. Happy New Year. Go ahead.
Happy New Year. Noel, you are not here. I think I talked about the New Year. But thank you. I didn't see you. As in, you didn't see my face, but today I was on. I'm grateful that it's yet another week, day 12 of January, and we are progressing very well. I just like the response from Power Monday people, and it was a good idea to increase the capacity of the Zoom. And I can attest from what our speaker today is talking of abundance, and we thank God for that. And I like how he started. Let me just mention this because it trigged my instinct about the parable of the sower. And when you're reading this parable of the sower, we're normally told some seeds fell. And I was wondering, why did the seed have to fall on a rocky place, yet it is the sower who was sowing them? So it was like intentional of throwing them on a stone. So we have like a blueprint for us to decide where these seeds can fall. Ukitaka ifall kwa on the rocky side, you have that opportunity, and there is that chance of now making it fall in an abundant soil. So thank you so much, Mr. Rogers. This was really mind-blowing, and I was just imagining you are just such a great innovator, and thank you. You talked of us calling you back for some other topic, which is also something that we had thought of, and we'll definitely have you back here. Our in-house, last Monday, I mentioned about having a Power Monday line. I trust for those who saw, it is the line that we used to have people come in, join our group this passing week. So kindly save that number. I will also pin the number today for a group. That is the line for Power Monday. For any concern that concerns Power Monday, you can just use that line and we'll be able to respond. Yeah, that is the line. The other one I've been using was my personal line, but now by God's grace, Power Monday has grown to that far of having a line and also a WhatsApp line that is active. So you can save that number for any concerns about Power Monday. And also, I trust this OPP had already mentioned about the activities that we have. What we are asking for is abundance cooperation from all of us when it comes to the activities for Power Monday. We have an upcoming meet and greet. Let's make good use of these activities and come and network, because we have seen it is one of the things that we've been given in abundance that are there given freely. So let's practice what we're being taught here. Thank you, and have a blessed week ahead.